Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let me start by asking you about the significance of the deal that was struck a couple of days ago with Russia to allow export of grain from Ukrainian ports. How big a step was that in your view? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You know, everyone, not everyone, but a lot of folks and a lot of scholars, they overestimate this deal. So on the one hand, this deal gives a chance for Ukraine to sell its around 20 million tons of grain. This will definitely mitigate the global food crisis, and this will definitely help some African countries to avoid all these food shortages. But on the other hand, I always focus on the root cause. Why it happened that Ukraine cannot sell its grain? Why it happened that the UN and Turkey had to broker some kind of outstanding deal, which is not true. That's not an outstanding deal. Because Putin invaded Ukraine. Because Putin violated the international law. Putin violated the UN Charter. Putin is killing innocent Ukrainians. And now he's trying to sell this story that Putin is a great dove who supports African countries and who wants actually to be one of the humanitarian leaders in the world.
If anybody saw the attack overnight, the attack that we've been talking about a little earlier, what do you say about that? What does that show about Russia's seriousness and its commitment to this agreement? Does it simply show that Vladimir Putin was never serious at all about that?
I wasn't surprised. That's his regular narrative and that's his regular playbook. On the one hand, he sent his DOD, his Ministry of Defense, and this was done on purpose. He didn't send any kind of, I would say, humanitarian ministry. He deliberately sent Minister of Defense, who is responsible for the war crimes committed in Ukraine, to show to the entire world that this guy is in charge, that this guy had a special mandate from Putin to sign the deal aimed at supporting African countries to tackle the food crisis. And in the end, the next day, this very Minister of Defense, Mr. Shoigu, ordered a missile attack on the most important ports in Ukraine, in Odessa, which was the part of this so-called grain deal. So that's not even cynical. That's
is the deal dead? Is the deal dead, Arseny? Is that it now, or do you still hope that there can be grain exports from Ukraine via Odessa, despite that attack, just 12 hours after Moscow signed that agreement?
Well, look, I never trusted any kind of deals signed with the Russian Federation and personally with Putin. But it is in the interest of Putin, actually, to make this deal viable. And there are a number of reasons. The first one is that he sent his envoy, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Lavrov, who is the Minister of Aggressive Affairs, to African countries, saying that, look, we Russians decided to help you to tackle the food crisis, and we are eager to help you. This is the West who actually tried to isolate you, and this is due to the West that imposed sanctions on the Russian Federation that you are starving. And this is another cynical playbook and narrative of the Russian Federation. So this is in the interest of Russia to make this deal viable and to stick to the deal. And there is another part of this deal. Let me remind you that Russians signed some kind of memorandum with the United Nations over the way how to export Russian fertilizers and Russian grain to the global market.
Yes.
They were scared of the global sanctions, of the US and EU sanctions, even despite the fact that neither grain nor the food or fertilizers were not the part of the sanction package, but a number of carriers, insurance companies, they were just afraid of making any kind of deals with the Russian Federation. So this is on the flip side of this coin. Again, Russia is really interested in making this deal viable and in actually paving the way for the Ukrainian grain to sell, to move it to the African countries.
Arseny, let me ask you about the conflict more generally. Interesting to get your thoughts on the deal. Let me ask you about the wider issue here. News today, Volodymyr Zelensky, your president, saying forces are advancing step by step into the occupied region around Kherson. Is this a turning point in the war? Is Ukraine starting to turn the tide on Russian advances, or would that be overstating it?
I hope, and I believe that we will completely turn the tide and that Ukraine will reclaim and retake the territories that have been temporarily occupied by the Russian Federation and by this outrageous and aggressive regime and Nazi-style regime for Mr. Putin. Whether this is to happen, I hope yes, and there is only one way how to end this war, is to prevail for Ukraine in this war. In this war for democracy, for freedom, and for the entire free world. And whether we are capable of doing this, yes, we are. But we need more lethal weapon. We need more heavy weaponry. And I do really commend the efforts of the United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union to make Ukrainian military more durable and to help Ukraine to fight against the Russian aggression.
I wanted to ask you about that. Is the West, is NATO, is the UK, the US, are they doing enough as things stand?
Look, I want to be very clear that this is our joint fight. I mean, this war is more rather than about Ukraine. This war about the global order. This war is about whether the Western democracies, whether the free world can prevail and sustain. Because, look, Putin and his cronies and his allies, including China, they are playing completely different game. This is an anti-Western game, how to undermine the global order and how to undermine the Western world. So both the US, UK, and the EU and the free world, they are doing a lot. And you guys are really doing a lot
to
help Ukrainians. But still room to improve and to increase this supply. We do understand that you feel the pain, you feel the pinch, and this is another part of the Russian playbook, because you've been discussing an unemployment rate in the UK, in high inflation, high energy prices.
Is that the reluctance that you think is driving Western governments? Is that why they're reluctant to do more, or are they just scared of Putin?
We as the Ukrainian people, we sacrifice more. We sacrifice our lives. Our lives for the security of the world and for our future, for our common future.
Arseny, thank you so much. Got to leave it there, I'm afraid. Could have spoken for a lot longer, but we are pushed for time. Arseny Yacenyuk.